onto it, or is it just something that's like a motorcycle bag or saddlebags, but for a hover cycle?
Well,
Is it something that can be removed, or is it something that's permanent?
I'm fine with either. If something can be removed, obviously it's more versatile. But if something needs to be welded on, I'm fine with that too. I know that's not a big answer, but I don't know.
No,
Yeah.
it's actually not an answer, but that's
Okay.
okay.
Tell you what. Tell you what. How about welded on, but it has some sort of maybe it's made from mega damage or something. It's some sort of armored compartment.
That's what I was going for. I wanted to know
Yeah.
what. Oh, yeah. If it's welded on, okay, great. So if it's made of mega damage materials, okie dokie. So, all right. Mega damage.
For the people who are watching right now, we're doing sort of like a pre-stream just to get everybody in before we actually start everything up.
So we're streaming now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Groovy. I think storage. Okay, I think I got prices there for all of y'all.
Yeah. Two vibronite sheaves. Would that be kind of the same price as the pistol harness? Very last item.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 100.
Thank you, sir. All right, then I will update the totals. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem, homie. It's my job.
Guys, I finally solved the dilemma of wanting to carry medical supplies and not being able to have a power armor to carry medical supplies. Which is, what the average American or anyone does. Bring a car or a motorcycle or something with storage space.
That is true.
Because I was like, man, I really want a light power armor, but I always want to bring medical gear and stuff. You know who can bring stuff? People with vehicles. They can bring stuff.
It's true.
I've seen it.
I have a basket.
True. For some reason, I just imagine the ATV with like an actual woven basket that you find on a girl's bicycle or something.
I was imagining an actual basket that Patrick just carried around of woven quality. Like, I brought everything in my little basket.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, let me just tweet things out here, and we should be all set. Reverse RPG campaign, episode 371. Also, just to let you know, once we have all the players before this session, Criana's not going to be able to make it. We will resume our recap, but I mean, there's no point recapping if someone misses out, right? I mean, we might eventually do that if it takes like months and months and months and months, but I don't anticipate that to be the problem. I do not.
Sorry, I'm currently going through Rifty Fell and trying my hardest to get as many pictures as I can before time runs out.
I understand.
Okay, I can give you more time. You hit the checkpoint. You're okay.
Piph, Burn, do either of you have an issue with Al spending 1,382,490 million
Wait,
100.
what?
Okay, okay. 1.38 million.
1,972,342,342,000,000. Shit.
So the answer is no.
I'm sorry, because I had it written down in numbers, but then at the end I wrote million coalition credits.
Million.
So, okay, basically 1.38 million.
As long as you're okay with me spending 951 grand.
Absolutely. Yeah, and some of that stuff includes I'm including all the actually Inferno.
Yeah.
And we could be very generic if you want. Al would want to restock anything he would need in the med lab, like basic stuff, alcohol, swabs, bandages, things like that.
That's right. Most of that was, well, a good chunk of that was used by the refugees. You're right. Tack on an additional 5,000 for that supply.
Okay, cool.
5,000 credits to get resupplied. Ishpeming has a good stock of stuff at competitive prices, so
Okay,
you'd
awesome.
be able to acquire that. Sure, no problem.
All right. So yeah, a large part of that is like more of the internal robot medical surgeon systems and things like that for the group. But as long as everyone's cool, then I am cool.
Alright, so I got the pictures. Let's go from oldest to newest. So we got a Mila. A very an artistic depiction, that's the word, of her. I like it. From Tom Combs?
Good.
Cobbs. It's pretty far down if you're looking for it. Timeline of May 22nd.
Tim Coombs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we got another one of Mila of I Know Kung Fu doing a backflip, I believe.
Yeah.
Whatcha?
Another pretty nice one. One from Glass Rose with Al's new haircut.
Yay! Yay, Allie.
Looking very spiffy.
And the latest episode
Yeah.
where this happened.
Yay! Cheater! I have to say, I appreciate both Al and or Squee's patience with that. Fucking fairies, man. And they let you off easy.
I was trying to play Al as like a he had a little sister, so he's not completely new to this, but still like it was trying.
If your little sister did the shit those fairies did to you, you have a horrible little sister.
No, never that bad. But I think that that he is kind of like one of those. Okay, just bear with it. Just get through it.
All right, so that is that. Oh, also that picture was made again by Glass Rose.
Yay!
There you go.
I did not see that picture. That was awesome.
Alrighty.
I should probably find that again too. Shoot. There it is. Gotta like that one. There we go.
Delightful. So before we get started, I have because it's been a while, we missed last week, and then the previous week you had your little escapade with the fairies. I just thought I'd maybe refresh a little bit of information for you.
Mm-hmm.
One moment, sorry. Um, I'm just wondering, out of curiosity, if you guys remember, if you guys want to access the negotiated data cache from the black market and their safe house, do you guys remember the instructions? If you do, then I am super impressed. If you don't, I'll
Oh,
let you know
I-
that now.
I put all of that in the group loot, dude.
Oh no, Burn! You
Well,
just tell him no. You just make him be impressed by our knowledge of memory. Yeah, Burn was really nice and wrote it all down.
Yeah, I made sure to that day all go to any city on the list below, and I put the two lists with CS states and allies and independent, and look for a bar with a C in its name. Ask the owner, say I want last month's specials because I want a good deal. Boom.
Look at you. Look at you. If I could go on the internet and pat you on the... Well, no, that would be like... That's what you do to children. If I could go on the internet and shake your hand, good sir, I would do so. Aha.
Burn, can I pat you on the head?
No.
No.
way.
No one pats... No one pats without DM's permission. All right. Anywho...
Somebody say my
Well,
name.
with... No. Your name isn't DM's permission.
Oh,
All right.
everyone was saying Pat.
Oh, I get it. I get it. Look at you. Look at you being so smart. All right, anywho. So when we last left off, you guys got your I guess you could say your token of appreciation from that strange little purple humanoid Dubberkin. And on your way back to or on your way to the free city of Tolkien, in the Behemoth, correct? Yes,
Yes.
of course. You were traveling in the Behemoth when you came across this towards the free city of Tolkien, and where you stashed your vehicle in a lake nearby, about 100 miles northeast-ish of the city. Okay. So my last question for you before I start taking the wheels and whisking you away through this wonderful land of adventure is... Oh, actually, that reminds me. I should make a little mark in case it is relevant of where you guys landed, which was, I believe, right around here. Was it in that big-ass lake?
Yeah.
Kind of.
No,
I think it was.
it
No, it was
wasn't-
in that direction.
Yeah, it was in
that direction.
Yeah, I initially did that. It was like here.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
I-
guys did hook into this river.
We remember, Burn, we had mentioned that big lake, but then we also said we don't want to be very meta.
That's metagaming.
We just want to.
So I said,
Yeah.
choose a direction, and you guys started going this direction. And I'm like, oh yeah, you found some other things, because like that is a huge lake. There's a bunch of really smaller ones in the meantime, right? So like you
Okay.
can even see on this map too, there are like little tiny ones like here and here and here and here and here. There's, lakes don't actually have to be all that big to be seen from on high, right? Anywho, let me just erase. Oh no, too many red dots now. Just give me
That's
a
not
moment.
a lake. That's a coalition blacktop. Dun dun dun.
I'd like to say, unless you guys are going super high up, you'd probably be able to tell the difference. The old crazy. All
There's
right,
like
let me
one
make
like
it in
coalition
purple.
scientist like, I want to make it look like a lake.
That'll show our aerial enemies.
Take that,
Ah!
dragon.
Your move, dragon. All right, darker purple. There we go. That's where you are. That's where your ship is. Okay, so the last thing I want to get over is just a reminder in regards to your passenger/cargo, the Baron. How do you have him situated in the Behemoth? Just refresh my memory.
I believe he's in the med bay tied down.
Yes,
Okay,
he's strapped
that's
down.
what
to the
I
bay.
thought. I was 99% sure, but in case that wasn't the case, I didn't want to go on the assumption on the case that, say, like he wakes up or something like that, right? Or someone tries to kill him, right?
One of the two.
So, or you misplace him, or you lose him, you know.
Where do we put the Baron? I don't know.
I don't know. And you try in between the couch cushions. All right.
We old yellered him out the back.
You had your chance to do that out in
I was gonna
space,
say, if
and you
that's
didn't
the
do
case, we just did a lot of work for nothing.
that. A lot of stress for nothing. Okay.
That's the day.
So, to get this story, to get the ball rolling, then I would like each of you fine players to roll me a D100, please. Right. Good. Good.
If anybody's seen a D100, it's actually a ball.
It's true.
Well, it's
You can
practically
get the ball
it's
rolling,
almost
yeah.
a ball. It's almost
Yeah.
a ball, but yeah.
It looks very similar to a golf ball.
Yeah, I had a buddy who had a D100. That thing rolled forever. Yeah. Anyway, let me check my notes. Okay, cool. So, I'm going to just narrate the next few hours, if that's fine by you guys.
Sure.
Okay. So, Patrick, using your land navigation skill and assisted by your fellow friends and individuals in the behemoth, you're able to follow the river for most of the way south before hooking around to the east. You find a clear pathway that seems to be a natural clearing of any sort of large amount of vegetation, rocks, or other parts of the landscape that would interfere with your travel and cause you additional travel time. You make excellent time, in fact, and it's only an hour and a half of travel that you reach the city of Tolkien. Before you do so, however, you notice a few, I guess you could say, major landmarks. In the distance, when you get about halfway to your destination, in the distance, off to the southwest, you do see what appears to be a working open pit mine. It is too far in the distance for you to get up too close to examine the exact goings-on, but by the few plumes of smoke and the movement of far-off figures, it is clear that it is operational. In addition, about 3/4 of your travel, you finally hook in to that immense, large, crimson blue ley line that you initially saw from space. No, not from space, from the higher atmosphere, when you were initially seeking an appropriate landing zone and hiding area. And without any sort of exaggeration, this is the largest and strongest ley line any of you have seen. Even the few that you encountered on Mars pales in comparison to this huge 30-foot high, 10-foot deep, shimmering blue, even here in the daylight, tear of magic energy. And those of you who are psychically or magically sensitive, which is all the players I'm currently talking to right now, definitely feel it far before you get visual confirmation. For those of you who might not have recovered any sort of PPE or ISP from your rest since then, just drawing on the ley line itself as you travel replenishes your inner senses of energy and the life force that you draw from to cast your magic and your inner strength that you passed on to catch on for your psionics. So This is a good opportunity for you to double check your character sheets and top off any ISP or PPE you might be missing.
Ooh, I have an interesting question.
Okay.
Since this is probably Al's first time being near a ley line since he has become so magically inclined. I know he was near one when he was learning, but
Mhm.
does he feel like, I know you can kind of top off your ISP, but is it one of those things where like you feel more energized or more alive or more anything like that, or is it just
If you're asking what a general person feels, or actually more specifically a magic user, it is. Let me color it this way. For those of people who are not magically inclined, you definitely feel something. The hair on the back of your head, back of your neck stands up, and on your arms does stand up. There's a kind of a feeling of static in the air, and some people complain of headaches or that their teeth hurt. For magic users, however, it it's up to the individual, really. Since they're not intimidated by the magic, most of the effects are not negative. In fact, none of them really are negative, right? If you want to play your character as being revitalated, that's fantastic. But it is just a sense of energy. You know what I mean? An energy that you now understand and control. So don't feel like your character has to be overwhelmed by it. Does that make sense?
yes, absolutely.
Mhm. But yeah, if you're hoping for an energizing, uplifting effect, it's almost like a psychological reaction to it, right? Like how you view magic kind of reflects how you feel when you're around a ley line. Make sense?
Yes.
I mean, if it's a ley line storm or a rift, that's something completely different. But an inert ley line is different. Is not nearly as scary.
Does anyone in the group mind if we were to stop and go, like, is a ley line something you can go up and touch or something like
No,
that?
no, no, no. It is. You can't touch it. You always pass through it. It is not a physical force.
Okay, okay. Then I think he would just he would spend most of his time watching it from a window, or maybe go out on top of the behemoth and watch it in like a quiet, contemplative attitude.
Great. Awesome. Am I good to continue on, my dear friends?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Okay. Is there any like interactions you yourselves want to do with the NP series during this travel time? Because my next description is going to get you right into Tolkien itself, if that's fine and dandy like cotton candy.
Ooh, I actually, yeah.
Okay.
Al would probably want to, when we get closer, maybe call everyone together.
Okie dokie.
I would most likely have something a little bit sooner than that.
Okay.
Patrick would most likely seek Al a little bit into the journey when the ley line's around.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, sure. Al would be on top of the behemoth, like outside, kind of sitting down on top of the behemoth, staring off at the ley line.
Wait, while the behemoth is traveling?
No. Oh, no. You know what? We have an observation deck, right?
Yes. Oh,
He would
yes,
be
you
in
do.
the observation deck. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it
Yeah,
has the
it's
pool in there. And,
poolside.
yeah, it's
Mm.
poolside. Okie dokie.
You would hear faintly from the staircase before you see Patrick. You just hear Al.
Al turns his head. Oh, hey, Patrick.
There you are. Would you mind if I tested a few things?
No, I don't mind at all. And Al will like turn back towards looking at the ley line.
All right. Patrick is going to cast the normal version of sense magic. and
Mm-hmm.
then go, okay, Al, I need you to cast something.
Oh. Okay. Al thinks for a second, and then he Oh, give me a second. Al would take this opportunity to cast something he doesn't normally get a chance to cast. Um. Al would cast. For this purpose, actually, Al would cast simplified invisibility.
Okay. Out of curiosity, Squee, do you have any magic items currently on Al right now?
No, I don't think so. The only one he usually carries with him are the bracers, and he only wears those when he's going
Okay,
out.
so you're not wearing them. Okay,
Mhm.
good. Then, Patrick, you after the incantation is finished, escaping Al's lips, he vanishes from the current visual spectrum. You don't see him, but due to you casting the sense magic spell, you definitely get a very strong feeling. And it's not just a wishy-washy feeling, it's a certain feeling in your mind where you can tell that there's definitely a source of magic near within 20 feet of you in the general direction towards you.
Um, just as a clarification, because this is what Patrick would be specifically testing. Is
Okay.
the ley line interfering with this?
Oh, my apologies. Yes, it is. Significantly. In fact, I would like to. My apologies. The DM derped, and he forgot that you were doing this scene when you reached the ley line. That was the first fucking sentence that you said. My bad. Gonna step back and rewind for a moment. And my description to Patrick is as follows: your mind, less of a certainty. I mean, more of a certainty. You get the feeling that there is a huge sense of magic um, right directly to your uh, east. And it is so powerful that although you know with your own eyes that I'll cast a spell, imagine the equivalent would be imagine a strong smell like garlic, right? Masking over a more subtle smell like rose petals. The sheer amount of garlic in the air completely overwhelms the smell of rose petals, such as this energy that you're feeling from the ley line is overwhelming the magic that's emanating from Al.
Um, Patrick would probably step closer and closer to where Al was, maybe running into him at certain point.
Yes, Al actually
Well,
hasn't moved
does
at
Al
all.
move?
No, Al's
Okay.
still looking at the ley line.
Once you get within 5 feet of where Al is, the tiniest hint of magic coming from his location rather than the ley line can be felt.
He would probably slow down, but still probably be moving forward with his arms out.
Okay. When you get within 3 feet of Al, your fingers touch his chest.
What do you think of that?
Al kind of absent-mindedly, like he doesn't. Well, I guess you can't tell that he moves, but he doesn't move. He just kind of says, "Patrick, what were you raised to believe about magic?"
Patrick, stops feeling where Al is, and he then goes kind of takes 2 steps back and says, I've always looked forward to magic. I don't think anybody told me not to, besides, of course, the cautions of danger.
Al will dispel the invisibility, and he's looking at Patrick now, and he nods and he goes, I've been trying to make sense of things. I grew up being told that magic is inherently evil, that everything about it is horrible. But I see that, and I feel what I feel, and even though there's still a part of me that is scared, terrified by magic, I don't understand. I use power armors. We fly a spaceship that is just as powerful as anything I've ever seen in magic, but it's not treated the same way. Even though the average person has no more idea how this spaceship works than a magical spell does. It doesn't make sense to me.
Patrick thinks for a bit. Well, the only thing that I can think of is some sort of cultural thing where us humans are very attuned with machines and electronics, where magic is not of our world, something that other beings, creatures, monsters do, and us as humans have picked that up just like a normal tool, but some still feel that it is disconnected.
Al nods and goes, that's what I was wondering. Do you, when you see a ley line, when you see magic, do you fear it any more than you fear a gun?
Patrick tilts his head. Is the gun being held?
What I mean is, you know that a gun can be both helpful and very harmful, just like magic. Do you... Patrick, I look at this, and he gestures to the ley line, and part of me is terrified by it. I don't know if it's like you said, if it's a natural thing humans feel, or if it was my upbringing.
Patrick's over to the ley line. Well, I can definitely feel it, but I'm not quite sure about the whole terror thing. I'm more afraid of things using it, especially for harm, similar to a gun. But this is benign, just raw energy that it's not even being used.
Hal nods, and yet I'm afraid of it. Almost like being afraid of the dark. You know that there's nothing there. You know that it's safe, but you still feel it. I don't know. Maybe it's something that'll go away in time, but it saddens me.
Patrick thinks to himself for a moment if this is part of his him being an elf.
I guess contrary to what you're thinking, Al will say, if I feel this way, if everyone where I come from feels this way, how could they ever begin to see it for what it is? How do you convince an entire people to stop hating something that doesn't deserve it? If they have this innate fear of it like I do, even knowing what I know, it just seems impossible sometimes.
Patrick will think for a moment. No, it's pretty hard. Um, general education should work pretty well. As he starts actually like pondering up at the ceiling. Mm,
Al will absentmindedly say, "Education's not allowed."
mm, well, if it's a dictator,
Al will say, "Patrick, do you know that I'm the only one in my family that knows how to read? And that was only taught to me because..." Wait,
Your general father doesn't know how to read?
okay. I was under the impression that being able to read was like a thing taught to someone who might have to go behind enemy lines. I didn't think about that though.
You can you can redo your statement. It's okay.
Yes.
You can.
I will say this. Do you know I'm one of the only people in my family that know how to read? One of the only people in my neighborhood. One of the only people I ever knew as a child or as growing up.
Patrick thinks, well, did anybody else want to?
He shakes his head and he says, they never expressed it, but there's a overwhelming sense that books are evil and we should just... we're told what we need to be told, and learning is dangerous because, you know, I don't know anymore. I don't know why learning is so dangerous, but growing up thinking that it was learning the wrong things anyway.
I'm not quite sure how words can. Well, I mean, if somebody's rude to you, that could hurt somebody.
He shakes his head and he says, well, no. Words can be very, very damaging. Imagine that book, the one by Aaron Tarn.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine you're a society who absolutely hates and abhors magic, and your entire people are taught to believe how evil it is. And yet there's this one book that you find in a library somewhere about someone like her who experienced all these wonderful things. That could be incredibly dangerous if you are someone who wants to keep things the way they are.
Oh, dangerous for. Oh, okay.
Dangerous in a lot of ways. Dangerous for those who are in power that want to stay in power. Dangerous for those who learn it, and those who are in power don't want them to.
That seems odd. Why would you want people to not advance?
Al kind of looks or thinks for a moment, and he says, maybe because the coalition understands more than they let on. Maybe they know that magic isn't as horrible as they seem to think. Maybe they know that if people start learning for themselves and looking into things for themselves, they'll start mistrusting the coalition. And the coalition only has power because the citizens trust it so much that they give it all its power. I always wondered why a city like Tolkien is so hated by the coalition when they don't touch each other. They're nowhere near each other, yet it's always seen as a almost enemy. Maybe its very existence being here is... I mean, I was excited to come here. What if others would be too? What if they learn? I don't know, Patrick. I'm not a politician, but
Here's the thing. Patrick, it actually looks like almost like he's thinking it looks like something's like horribly not making sense to him at the moment. Like something's nagging him, and he's not enjoying this feeling. So they want to keep it with robots and armors and vehicles and big guns, but they don't want people to learn. How are they going to get better equipment?
oh no, 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 no. The military is very intelligent. The engineers are very advanced. I don't know how to make power armor, but they make it, so they have to be. It's the common people, the regular citizen, the majority. If you think about it, you only need a very small percentage of the population to make guns and armor and equipment. And half the people who train to use a suit of power armor don't know how it works more than how to do maintenance on it. You can keep the majority of your population ignorant and still use technology. I suppose the same isn't true for magic.
That'd be horribly slow.
Al nods and he says, it like almost like picking up like he has a thought and he's following it. It doesn't take any knowledge at all to pick up a gun and pull a trigger, but to use magic to cast spells, you have to learn. I always thought that where I come from, the fact that we didn't read or that they didn't learn like what I've learned out here was okay, that they still survive and have happy lives. And now I'm starting to see how crippled it makes them.
Patrick goes, "Yeah, me too." That he still looks weird.
What is it, Patrick?
Like they could try to take away magic or the use of magic and things like that, and that should be fine. But why literature? Why reading? Why learning?
Al's quiet for a long time and he says, "You know, I never thought to ask until now. I don't really know. But it scares me to think that if I hadn't left, if I hadn't met you guys, I might. I learned to read from the Coalition, but I didn't develop a sense of wonder, a want, a desire to learn until I met you and the others. If I hadn't, I wouldn't be what I am today, and that's
Patrick thinks for a bit. Well, maybe not the same person, but I would think pretty close. I think one of your biggest decisions didn't even involve us.
Al kind of smiles and he says, "That's very kind of you to say, Patrick."
Patrick looks down, unsure exactly what he said, and then just smiles.
And scene?
Mm-hmm. I'm good.
Yeah?
Mhm.
Okay, great. So I'm going to pause the game here for a moment and let you know of a technical issue that's happening. Apparently, the vast majority of people on stream, the stream is pausing, the sound's cutting out. It's just not being
Oh,
streamed very
shit.
well for a lot of people.
It's my internet.
Yeah.
What the? I think that might be on YouTube's end because, like, you guys can hear me just fine. My internet's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yep.
It does look like my streaming program's having.
Okay.
No, still having connection problems. Like by a ton.
All right. Well, let's see if I Oh, I have all my notes and shit up though. But if I just stream the Hangouts window, let me give it a shot if that's okay by you.
Sure.
I could
Okay.
also potentially give it a shot.